The terminal at Dallas-Fort Worth International hummed with the steady rhythm of routine. Travelers bustled to and fro beneath the glow of overhead lights, voices blending with rolling luggage and overhead announcements. Amid it all walked Patricia Langford, tall, composed, effortlessly elegant in her navy cashmere coat and perfectly coiffed hair. Her designer heels clicked against the polished floor with confident rhythm. She didn't rush. She never had to. Patricia had made this flight a dozen times or more, Dallas to Washington, first class only. It wasn't about luxury for her, not exactly. It was about control, about assurance, about knowing who she was and where she belonged. Everything about the journey was familiar. Priority boarding, champagne and a flute, murmurs between executives like her. It was, to her, a sacred ritual of separation. First class was not just a cabin, it was a category. As she approached her assigned seat 2A, her eyes caught on the man already seated beside it. He was black. Well-dressed, yes. Impeccably so. A crisp navy suit tailored to perfection, polished shoes, and a silver watch peeking beneath his cuff. His posture was relaxed, but alert. A laptop set open on his tray table, his fingers moving with quiet purpose. He didn't glance at her. Didn't need to. He was occupied, immersed, and evidently unconcerned with her presence. Patricia hesitated only a fraction of a second. But in that flicker, something stirred. She placed her designer tote into the overhead bin with just a bit too much force and slid into her seat. Her eyes drifted toward the man again. No ring, she noted. Mid-30s, perhaps. Calm. Too calm. She adjusted her scarf and cleared her throat. "Excuse me," she said lightly, tilting toward him just enough for polite confrontation. "Are you sure you're in the right seat?" The man didn't look up. "Yes," he replied simply. Nothing more. Patricia's lips pressed into a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes. She glanced around the cabin, hoping for a familiar flight attendant. Within seconds, Emily Jacobs approached. Early 30s, efficient, courteous, the kind of attendant Patricia appreciated. "Is everything all right, ma'am?" Emily asked, her tone practiced. "I believe this gentleman is in the wrong seat," Patricia said with a light laugh, touching her boarding pass. Emily checked her tablet. "You're in 2A. He's in 2B. She turned to the man. "Mr. Stokes, correct?" He gave a slight nod. "That's right." Emily smiled. "All appears to be in order." Patricia blinked. "Oh," she said, laughing awkwardly. "That's strange. I guess I just assumed." But Emily had already turned to greet another passenger. Patricia sat stiffly. Her hands fidgeted in her lap. Her neighbor, Daniel Stokes, had already returned to his laptop, unmoved, unbothered. And that annoyed her more than she expected. She waited a few minutes, her discomfort brewing. He wasn't nervous. Wasn't trying to justify himself. And that, more than anything, unsettled her. So she pressed the call button again. Emily returned, her professional mask unshaken. "Ma'am, I'd like to change seats," Patricia said calmly. "Is there a problem?" Patricia paused. I don't feel comfortable." Emily studied her, then tapped her tablet. "Unfortunately, ma'am, we're fully booked in first class." "Well, maybe he can move to economy," Patricia offered with a smile that didn't hide the implication. Daniel stopped typing. Emily blinked. "Just to confirm," Emily said slowly, "you'd like me to move Mr. Stokes, a paying first-class passenger, to economy, because you feel uncomfortable?" "Yes." A hush began to fall over the surrounding rows. One man turned slightly, pretending to read a magazine. A woman across the aisle leaned into her husband. "I'm sorry, ma'am," Emily said firmly. "That's not going to happen." Patricia's eyes widened. "Excuse me. Mr. Stokes is seated properly. He's going nowhere." "But I'm not asking for much," Patricia insisted. "Just a courtesy. If someone's uncomfortable." Emily didn't budge. "That's not a courtesy. That's discrimination." The cabin held its breath. Daniel still hadn't spoken. "Ma'am," Emily continued, "if you cannot remain in your assigned seat without further disruption, I'll need to ask you to deplane." Patricia's heart dropped. "What?" "I'm serious. Mr. Stokes is not moving." A few passengers clapped quietly. Then Daniel did move. He reached into his jacket, pulled out a slim leather wallet, and opened it with one practiced motion. An FBI badge gleamed beneath the overhead lights. The air in the cabin shifted. "I can take your statement now," Daniel said, his voice calm. "Would you like to file an official complaint?" Patricia froze. No. "Because you said you didn't feel safe," Daniel continued evenly. "And that's a serious claim. If you believe I've acted inappropriately, we can make this formal right now." Patricia shook her head. Daniel closed the badge case and resumed typing. And that, it seemed, was that. Except it wasn't. The young woman across the aisle had been filming. Her phone angled just enough to capture the exchange. And when Patricia dared to glance to her left, she saw the screen. A caption already typed. Racist woman tries to kick black man from first class. He's FBI. Her stomach twisted. Her purse buzzed. Again, and again, and again. Texts, calls, emails. She tried not to look, tried not to imagine what was happening online. But she looked anyway. Her name, Patricia Langford, was trending. The video had hit 20,000 views in minutes. Then 40,000. 70,000. It wasn't slowing down. The comments were brutal. Entitled Karen gets what she deserves. She said she didn't feel safe? LOL. FBI guy stayed calm the whole time. Respect. Expose her name. She should never work again. Patricia's hands trembled. She blinked back tears, trying to stay composed. But she could feel it unraveling. Her world, her image, her control. Emily returned one last time. Ma'am, she said coolly, can you confirm that you're able to remain on this flight without further disruption? I'm fine, Patricia whispered. Emily didn't smile. I'm going to hold you to that. Then she walked away. The rest of the flight passed in excruciating silence. Daniel didn't speak again. He didn't even glance at her. He returned to his work. The passengers around her watched, some with disgust, others with glee. Even those who pretended not to look, Patricia could feel their judgment like heat on her skin. By the time the flight landed in Washington, the video had over 100,000 views. And when she stepped into Reagan National Airport, everything changed. A small crowd of reporters stood by baggage claim. Video now viral shows an unidentified woman attempting to remove an FBI agent from first class. One reporter spotted her. That's her, someone shouted. Patricia turned, fleeing down the terminal. But it was too late. Her phone rang. She answered out of reflex. Miss Langford, said a cold voice, this is James Rollins from the Marston Foundation. We need you to step down. We'll be issuing a statement. Click. She stared at the phone, then at the floor. She had spent a lifetime building an image, a reputation, a fortress of prestige and exclusivity. And in a single flight, a single moment, it had all crumbled. Meanwhile, Daniel Stokes had already moved on. His flight had landed. His day had begun. For him, it was just another Monday. For Patricia, it was the end.